You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right. Hello, Night Nation. Hello, Orlando. This is Andrew Phegley, and this is Knightline at Night. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, at 386-736-3000 for that. Also, we're taking your calls, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326. You can call us to talk about UCF sports or use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter. Got Roger Phipps at Night Bengal on Twitter. And you can find all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. We are talking about UCF sports. And this week, the title of the show is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Because there was good, bad, and ugly yesterday. There was UCF football going on and basketball virtually at the same time, I believe. Basketball was the good part. UCF football was the bad part. UCF football 55-28, actually 28-55, losing to the SMU Mustangs. We'll get into that here in just a bit. And basketball was the good part. UCF 95, the Miami Hurricanes at the Miami Hurricanes 95-89. So that was good. The ugly was probably back on the football side as well, and the ugly was players getting kicked out for targeting and injuries. Injuries, again, piling up. Bryson Armstrong went down, but Tatum Bethune went down for a minute. Keenan Hester, all kinds of injuries still, and Gus Malzahn was on a platform. We've talked about this. Kind of one of the weirdest coaching situations that I've ever seen, with him sitting on a platform on the sideline, an elevated little riser. I don't know. He said he hated it though. And here's what he said. This is bad audio, by the way, but I apologize for that. But here's what he said about it.
It wasn't worth the crap. Just from the standpoint, you can't be down there and, talk to officials. And I don't know. It was just your distance away from everything. We made the best of it. And we'll evaluate if that's what's best the next two games. But you can't talk to the officials. You can't. It's just it was a tough deal.
He said it was not worth a crap if you couldn't hear that because of that. There was doors slamming and all kinds of stuff in that audio. So I tried to make it as good as I could. He was not happy with that situation. Didn't think that he probably would be. It was a little weird. So, but that was not the only problem that was going on, obviously. Looked pretty good coming out of the gate. I will say the first half really looked pretty good. And defense fell apart, honestly, in my opinion, when Bryson Armstrong went down. From there on, it got, from bad to worse. So,
yeah, I mean, the big thing for me was just the number of plays that the defense was out there on the field. They had created a couple of short fields early on, which allowed us to score pretty quickly. Our running game was non-existent. Offensive line let 7 sacks through. So Mikey Keene was running for his life. We tried to open it up a little bit. Nobody was catching any balls. Brandon Johnson, for example, he was targeted 8 times, had 1 catch. So that was kind of like, for me, the story of the game was we didn't have any north-south running. It was all bouncing out to the outside. They were basically doing what the previous 2 teams did, which is we'll make you beat us through the air. So we're going to stack the box, which stopped the running game. Obviously, Bowser was out. that didn't help matters either. And then just a porous offensive line effort. So, that was the story of the game. You win or lose in the trenches and on the third down percentages, and they had over 50%. They completed 50% of their first down or third downs, and we did not. We were at 35%. So
yes, 631 total yards for the Mustangs, 390 through the air, 241 on the ground, which is not something that we've been used to. We had 333 total yards of offense, 209 through the air, 124 on the ground. Roger mentioned that there was no Bowser, so it turned out to be Mark Anthony Richards and Johnny Richardson. Parker Navarro got in the game. That was a cool little thing that I was not expecting. We've seen Mikey Keene get spelled by another quarterback, but not Parker Navarro. So I think that threw him off. 2 carries for 7 yards, 3.5, and a touchdown. So pretty good.
Brito did pretty well.
Brito
too,
got in there as well. Yeah, 3 carries, 6 yards. Yeah, so we saw all the quarterbacks pretty much except for
Gatewood,
Joey
right?
Gatewood. Yeah, Joey Gatewood wasn't in there, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, and I don't believe I've heard anything about any reasoning behind that. I mean, it seemed like Parker Navarro was kind of like that change of pace running quarterback, which is interesting. That he kind of went in there, kind of in the Gatewood duties. Have you guys heard anything about that?
No, I haven't heard anything. I mean, you never know whether he was under the weather or he's banged up or whatever. Interesting. Andrew Brito also threw 2 passes. Completed both of them, 35 yards, 17.5 average for him. So we haven't seen his quarterback rating with that obviously was a lot better than Mikey Keene's. Mikey Keene was 18 of 35 for 174 yards, averaged 5.0 on those throws, and with 1 touchdown in there.
Yeah. I mean, it was, when you were watching Mikey, I mean, I don't blame so much on Mikey though. When you watched him play the game, he was running for his life the entire game. So he was continuously rolling out, and you see the difference between a 5-star quarterback and a freshman who's just starting, right? Mordecai was rolling out. He was waiting for his receivers to get open, and the secondary was doing a good job covering him. But if you let him run out there for 4 or 5 seconds, he knew exactly where to roll out. He threw the ball accurately, and Mikey Keene just isn't there yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tanner Mordecai is a completely different animal, as a junior, also working behind 2 Heisman Trophy, quarterbacks at Oklahoma. So, I mean, obviously he's a great quarterback and has had, really good guys to watch over the last couple of years and all that. So SMU's got it going on. I mean, they've lost a couple of games. They've lost 2 games. Their record is only 1 better than ours in the conference. So, it is what it is. They weren't up for it. UCF was not up for it going to Dallas and playing the SMU Mustangs this last week.
Yeah,
so
they certainly seem to have the right game plan. Just it's kind of what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, where just really keying in on the running game, trying to stop the run, trying to force Mikey Keene to throw the football, and then providing pressure on him as much as they can. And I mean, like you guys have said, I mean, he's a true freshman, 18-year-old kid that is doing well in spots this year, but having the entire team on his shoulders, having to carry that type of load. I mean, 35 pass attempts would be more than enough. It would be great for a guy like Dylan Gabriel, but Mikey Keene's just on that progression to a much better part of his game, and it just comes with the experience. And so teams are really keying in on that.
Yeah, and what the offense, SMU's offense did really, really well is they didn't give us time to get to the quarterback. We only had 1 sack this game. We had some pressures, and we had, I believe it was 10 tackles for a loss, but they were getting the ball out quick. So they would, they took advantage of the screen game, et cetera. And we were there. We were in position to make plays, but a lot of the times those wide receivers were just bullying our defensive backs and creating those tunnel screens or whatever with great blocking. But when they do that, they take away our biggest strength, which is being able to rush the quarterback.
All right, let's hear what Gus Malzahn, UCF head coach, had to say about the game.
First of all, give SMU credit. A really good team. Just from my standpoint, disappointing loss. We didn't play well. They had something to do with it, but we didn't play well really in all three phases. Couldn't stop them. I've talked for weeks. We've been doing a good job of stopping the run. When you don't stop the run, it opens up everything. And give up 631 yards offense. We had a couple of our main guys go down. I mean, that's been the same old story, but it's got to be next man up mentality offensively. Just had trouble getting a rhythm. We started out pretty good with the two short fields. Third down wasn't very good. And of course, we were 6 of 17. They were 13 of 20. So that tells you a lot. We downed to football on the 1 foot line, which kills us with field position. But overall, a real disappointing loss. At this point, we really had 3 good quality wins. We've got to learn from it. We got to grow from it. We got to heal up a little bit. We got to finish this thing the next 2 games at home.
All right, 2 more games left. UConn coming up this week, and then next week the finale
against the
Cows, Black Friday at home. Both of those games. So they've got to do what they can do. This year has just been completely messed up by injuries. It kind of is what it is. I'm just glad we're 6-4 at this point, because it could have been a lot worse, to be honest with you.
I could tell you this. What was interesting, since you mentioned the Cows, I don't know if you noticed this, but SMU's defensive coordinator was the Jim. USF's the Cows' former head coach, who gave us fits. Jim Leavitt, exactly.
Yeah.
So he was on the sideline up there being angry, as we're used to seeing, with neck bulging and everything else. But he did a good job against our offense this week.
It happens. Yeah, I mean, it's just he's been all over the place. He's worked for all kinds of people. So you definitely go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can kind of hear it in Gus's voice of just, it's not obviously it's a disappointment in the way the game went, but it's like he's just exasperated of just like the injuries. It's like, here we go again.
Even he's injured.
Said that.
Yeah,
even he's injured.
The head coach is
insane.
Yeah.
It's like we talk a lot about over the last few years how unlucky Johnny Dawkins has gotten with basketball injuries, but man, Gus Malzahn this year, his first year at UCF as the head coach, he has gotten so unlucky with some of the injuries or all the injuries to the key contributors to this team on both sides of the ball. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's unprecedented. I don't remember the last time that we had so many injuries, on the football field. The good thing was Jalen Robinson was back as well. Not 100%. 2 receptions for 50 yards, averaging 25 yards on those 2. Ryan O'Keefe, 5 receptions, 44 yards, 1 touchdown, averaged 8. Brandon Johnson, though, 1 reception, 36 yards. Mark Anthony Richards, though, on the running side, I think this was kind of a rebirth of him, and I think that he did a wonderful job. Johnny Richardson, it wasn't quite doing it out there, and we needed somebody else to come in and carry. 8 carries for 104 yards. That's 13 yards a carry, his longest being 58. So obviously he did some good once he got in there and started running. Was banged up a little bit as well. Breakout uniform in a UCF uniform for sure. Yeah. No question about it. Glad to see it, because we've been waiting for that. He was unhealthy at the beginning of the season, and is finally getting healthy, and now we're starting to see him. So at the perfect time. All right, we're going to take a break here. We're going to talk about more UCF football and UCF basketball when we return on Knightline at Night.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Nightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw. I got Big Ben Stout here with me and Roger Phipps. We're talking UCF sports, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good being UCF 95, the Miami Hurricanes 89 in basketball yesterday. The bad being SMU Mustangs 55, UCF Knights 28 in football. And the ugly being, I don't know, the ugly was all football, I can tell you that, because there was nothing ugly about the basketball game, Ben. Let's talk about that real quick. Man, our Knights are, off to a good start.
Yeah, they are. And I was saying to you guys yesterday over text message that the hot start that we got off to last season just kind of felt a touch fragile or a touch hollow, because those wins, those big wins that we had, we haven't had a signature win yet, of course. We're only 2 games into it. But some of the signature wins that we had early on last season were kind of Brandon Mahan and Darren Green Jr. just kind of putting up ridiculous numbers, making crazy shots, and just kind of seemed to kind of outshoot the other team. And so it felt a little hollow last season. This year seems a lot more solid. This team is just really sharp on both ends of the floor. They have long stretches where they're just smothering people on defense. But what I was most impressed with yesterday, I think, is just how well they shared the ball on offense. They seemed to make the extra pass whenever it was needed. They seemed to be very aware of the shot clock. And even towards the end of the game, where they made a really good extra pass to Darren Green wide open in the corner, and he shot with like 1 second left to end a drought for us. It was a huge 3 in the corner when we needed it. Just overall, I'm impressed with the way they're looking so far, and their depth is fantastic as well. And so hopefully they can keep it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's super early in the basketball season, right? Obviously, just the second game. We've got obviously a lot more to go. But to me, and I'm not the basketball expert you are, to me, this looks like a different team this year. It just looks like a completely different team, even though it's the same guys, but they're just playing differently.
18 assists. I mean, we never got 18 assists in last year's teams. The other part was obviously the free throws as well. That was huge down the stretch as we went to close out the game, because Miami kept making crazy shots towards the end of the game. They only shot 23% from 3, but then towards the end of the game, they were just going off.
Yeah, and how well they played together is reflected in the stats. Not only the 18 assists that you just mentioned, but shooting 50% from the floor on the road against an ACC team, and then, like you said, 89% for the game from the free throw line. That's the way you close out games as well. Like when you have a lead at the end of the game, it kind of doesn't matter. You can stop a run, and the other team will run out of time if you can shoot the ball well from the free throw line, and they certainly were doing that yesterday afternoon. And that's a great sign for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Yeah. Long season to come.
No doubt.
Obviously. There's a lot more. This is just getting started. 2 games now in the books. Got Jacksonville on, what is it? Tuesday, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Jacksonville Dolphins, they're playing. And then also, is it this week or is it next week? Then they have Evansville Purple
Saturday.
Aces Saturday,
Yeah.
11:20, November 20th, 2 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus as well, going up against the Evansville Purple Aces. All right, we'll be right back, and we will continue our talk on Knightline at Night about UCF sports, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you haven't figured it out yet, I love Tijuana Flats. I would love them even if they weren't a partner with us on the Knightline Sports Network. They have all kinds of great Tex-Mex food, and it's fresh, by the way. Made to order burritos, tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas, quesadillas, bowls, nachos, and taco salads. And if you haven't tried the queso, you are completely missing out. It is the best queso that I've ever had in my life. Absolutely hands down. And the sauce bar that they have, everything from wild to mild in there. Absolutely awesome, awesome stuff. Not only do I love the food at Tijuana Flats, but I love the company, a UCF-born company. And they give back to the community with the Justin Queso Foundation. So head to your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. Hey Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night with you. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, at 386-736-3000, and I will get you taken care of. We're taking your calls, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, at AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32, and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal. And you can find all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. Talking the good, the bad, and the ugly from UCF Sports Weekend. The good, obviously, being UCF basketball and their 95-89 win over Miami. The bad being UCF's football game, 55-28 SMU Mustangs. Not good there. And that would be the ugly as well. The ugly was the people getting injured and getting kicked out of the game for targeting. If you saw this play, I understand how they can call it for targeting, but I hate the targeting rule. In no other sport, anywhere, is there a rule that you hit somebody the wrong way one time and you get kicked out of a game? It's so ridiculous. They need to look at this and get this fixed for next year. There's no reason that Tatum Bethune, Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste should have been kicked out of that game, period. Nobody was hurt because of it. He was the one that was actually on the ground after, the play. He lowered his head and he made a football hit. But soccer, you get yellow cards, red cards, for all that junk. Basketball, there's flagrant fouls and non-flagrant fouls. Why don't they do that with this, targeting thing in football? Flagrant or non-flagrant? He did not try to hurt this kid. You know what I'm saying? It's driving me crazy. This is the dumbest rule in all of sports, period.
Well, it's the one rule in all of sports that takes so much of the emphasis on the referee to figure out what the intent was of the player that actually committed the targeting.
Yeah,
right? So it's like it takes into account that, which is just so subjective, which is what makes fans like us, as you're saying, Andrew, extremely frustrated with the rule at times.
Right. Well, it goes on intent, but does the referee go over and ask the kid, hey, did you mean to hurt the guy? Like, were you trying to hurt him?
Oh, of course not.
Of course not. Yeah. But maybe they should. Maybe that's what, maybe there should be an interview after or before they make a decision, like guilty or innocent until proven guilty, whatever. It's just, it drives me crazy, and it is absolutely the worst rule in all of sports. They need to figure this out. This is coming up on the second year or whatever year, every 2 years they can make rule changes on this. This needs to be examined in college football, flagrant or not, or something. Something needs to be done. 2 per game or something. It's ridiculous. Even in the pros, yes, they have a targeting thing or unnecessary roughness now, and they give you multiple chances before they kick you out of the game. But in college football, for some reason, there's this dumb rule that, you can get kicked out of the entire game because you hit somebody the way that they didn't want you to hit somebody. And that's what football is about. You know what I'm saying? When I played football, we tried to hurt people. We tried to knock them out of the game. That's what football was all about. That's it's one of those things. If you can hurt a guy that's hurting you on the field and you can get rid of him, it used to be a good thing. Now all of a sudden it's a bad thing.
Separate the player from the ball. That's what I was coached.
Exactly. I mean, these guys go tugging on the ball at every chance that they have to do that. Missing a good tackle now because they're trying. The only way that you can really do anything is get a turnover anymore. You can't, half the hits that you would knock that ball out of their hands or make them forget they're even holding the ball. You can't do anymore. It's ridiculous.
The only way you can do it now is putting the crown of your helmet on the ball. I mean, you see a lot of guys doing that now when they're going for tackles.
Well, and then they're going to get caught for lowering their head and using the crown of their head against, it's just so stupid. That's my rant of the day. I know y'all were waiting for it. It happens pretty much every time. I just thought of that though. I was thinking about, the game and it's just, I know it's a small, insignificant part of this game, but when we're already short on linebackers and this happens to one of our linebackers and, makes the situation even worse, it's just bad.
Well, at least he'll be out for UConn. I don't think we'll need him for UConn. So that's
first half, right?
Yeah.
First half of
UConn.
And that's dumb too. Why would you do that? I mean, what is the point of that? What's the point of holding somebody out the first half of the game next week because something they did in the game before?
Deterrent.
I understand that, but it's stupid. I understand.
Yeah, I agree with you. If it happens in the second half of a game, you're held out for the rest of that half, of course, and then the second half of the next game.
I mean, thank God they don't make them leave the field anymore. Remember, they used to have to do the walk of shame and go to the locker room. At least they can stay on the field. They take their helmet away from them, so they can't go back in. But it's this needs to change. It just needs. They're ruining the game of college football. With numerous things.
Second rant. So this is my rant. Is the second game in a row, Mikey Keene gets called for a fumble when his arm is going forward when the ball is knocked loose.
Was there a rule change on this recently that made this?
Nope.
The referees not understand a forward pass?
Nope. It's just poor officiating. I mean, the guy hit his arm as his arm was going forward and the ball came out. And he still had control of the ball and it just kind of went like this towards the ground and then it hit the ground and then called it a fumble.
Yeah.
They reviewed it. Even the guys on the TV were saying that's a forward pass. And, the officiating in this game was absolutely horrendous.
And one of the things, if Gus would have been on the sideline, he probably would have held them in check a little bit more. But since he wasn't down there to be in their ear yelling at them, and that's one of the things that he mentioned it right there, saying, I wasn't able to talk to the officials. And what he means is scream at the officials.
Right.
Which is perfectly fine. And he's really good at that. That's one of the things. But, when you can't go to be down there to argue your call and have to have your assistant do it or whatever, that's crap.
And his reputation carries some weight with the officials, just like in basketball. There's certain head coaches that you'll see them go over there and yell at the refs, and they'll get calls just because of their reputation. So, yeah, that is a disadvantage for us with him being up on the platform and not being in refs' ears. So I don't see Herb Hand doing that or anybody else, and none of them have the weight that Gus Malzahn does.
Yeah, Herb Hand was actually in the booth this week. They put him up in the booth and brought the quarterback coach down onto the field. Kenny, yeah, I couldn't remember his name. Thank you. They brought him down. So, hey, we got a phone call. Andrew from Oviedo is on the line. Andrew, my friend, what's going on?
I was hoping to feel better this weekend. Not so much.
Yeah.
Have you jumped out of the moving car yet?
I made sure it wasn't part
Please keep you and your family safe.
Yeah, please don't do that. But, what's on your mind?
So I went to the struggle of watching the game again, and I was kind of curious. I can get why our defense kind of went off and didn't really do much, but I'm really curious of where our main offensive struggles is. Do you think it's more on the inexperience of Keene, or is it our offensive line that has continually underperformed the past couple of games?
Well, the offensive line has been having issues. I think they're beat up at this point, personally. And obviously, there is the Mikey Keene freshman quarterback issue. There's also your best running back is out. Finally, we got Jalen Robinson back as a receiver. But with all that other stuff combined, I just think that's it's taking its toll even more than it has before. I don't know what's going on the offensive line, but I'm thinking it's been a long season with those guys, and they're starting to get beat up. And they're not, changing out players nearly as much as they used to with other head coaches, I've noticed. And those guys are out there for a long time, and it's been a long season. And like I said, they're starting to get beat up. Roger, maybe you can comment on that as well.
Well, yeah, Sam Jackson had a rough day last week. That there was a couple of other folks that were having rough days. You're right. The offensive line has underperformed the last two games. It was glaringly obvious. On top of that, though, if Mikey Keene doesn't have time, he can't throw the deep balls, stretch the ball vertically. So what does the defense do? They stack the box. When they stack the box, they stop your running game. And we didn't have any running game between the tackles. We were trying to bounce everything outside. And when you try to bounce everything outside, and we were playing with O'Keefe doing reverses and all that other stuff, they're going to key on and keep the edge. And if you got extra defenders in the box, then that's going to happen. And then on passing downs, if you've got extra defenders in the box and you're not going to have as much time, your offensive line is going to get overwhelmed because they can't cover everybody. So at the end of the day, to me, it's a combination of, yes, the offensive line hasn't been playing as well. Two, we don't have someone that could run between the tackles. Mark Anthony Richards got in there for a little bit. He did well. But Johnny Richardson kept bouncing it out, which means you're slowly developing the plays, and you can cover that. So it gives the defense time to react to what we're doing. So, to me, the Ryan O'Keefe experiment and doing screens and all that other stuff at the edge, they're covering that now. So if you have that covered, that doesn't leave you many options.
Right. Yeah, they seem to be taking away, the whole dimension with Bowser out, just taking away that running game, making us one dimensional. It's just been really hard on the offensive line, especially because it's just like the opposite. If the running game is working, then we're wearing down the defense. If they're able to stop the run and make us one dimensional, it almost wears down the offensive line. And certainly we saw that yesterday in a big way. And so that's just too much for them to overcome at this time.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Andrew, thank you for your call, man. Really appreciate it. We will talk to you later. We're going to go to a break here fairly shortly. It's just, everything is leading up to another at this point. The injuries are taking their toll, obviously. They have been since week 3 or week 4 for us. This is nothing new, but I think that, the offensive line, it's getting towards the end of the season. This is the time where those guys are going to start to be banged up. And unfortunately, I think that's what's going on. Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully with a couple weeks off in a bowl game, once the season is over, that they can, get ready for that bowl game and maybe be, a little bit in better health to do that. So, it's going to be an issue next year as well with the offensive line. A lot of new guys will be on that offensive line. So we've got, I think the offensive line issue, unless they really fill that with some transfer type guys or they've got an idea of what they're going to do. And I'm sure they do have an idea of what they're going to do. It's going to be, an issue. Hopefully not. But it very well could be. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to be right back on Knightline at Night. We have the AAC scoreboard coming up and our Tijuana Flats hot take of the week.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this.
We need to stop blaming Jerry because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys?
My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night with you. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law. Real quick here, I want to get this out of the way. The AAC report is on Knightline Sports Network. You can find that anywhere you find podcasts, and Jeff Allen does that for us every week. And here is his score report of the week for the American.
Time now to check out the rest of the scores around the American. Number 17, Houston secures its spot in the AAC Championship game as Alton McCaskill rushed for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns as Houston down Temple 37-8. Number 2, Cincinnati can join them next week with a win either over SMU or East Carolina in the season finale. The Bearcats remain unbeaten with their 45-28 win over South Florida on Friday night to keep their college football playoff hopes intact. Keaton Mitchell scored on a 24-yard run in overtime. Then the Pirates broke up a conversion pass to send East Carolina to a 30-29 win over Memphis on Saturday. That makes them bowl eligible. And Shamari Brooks' 15-yard run in overtime allowed Tulsa to escape with a 2013 win against Tulane. The Green Wave had a chance to win in regulation but missed a chip shot field goal with 4 seconds left. I'm Jeff Allen. We'll recap those games and get you set for this week's contest as well as see where Cincinnati lands in the college football playoff poll this week. That's all on this week's AAC report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
All right, and welcome to the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Visit TijuanaFlats.com for takeout or delivery, or visit your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. All right, Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week is our score prediction segment every week. Make sure you get to Tijuana Flats and have some awesome, fresh Tex-Mex food. We're going to play. UCF is playing the Yukon Huskies 4 p.m. on Saturday on ESPN Plus at home at the Bounce House. Roger, why don't you start us off with your pick for this game? What's the score going to be?
All right, for this week, I'm thinking the civil conflict will turn into a civil slaughter, and 44-7 UCF.
All righty, 44-7 UCF. Go ahead, Ben.
Pretty similar, 43-3 UCF.
43-3, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going. Well, you know what? We're a 30.5-point favorite. This is not normal for us to be a 44.5 favorite. I'm going to say, man, I just don't think our offense is going to do it so well. 24-7. 24-7 is it. I'm not sure what our offense is capable of at this point. So hopefully our defense will be mad from that last game and be able to hold on to them and, make it where they can't score a bunch of points. So I don't think they're going to score a bunch of points anyway. Yukon is, what'd you say, Roger? They're scoring 15 points a game?
15 points
or something
a game.
like that. Yeah. Not good what's going on up there in Storrs, Connecticut. So I don't think we have to worry too much, but every time that we are a plus or a minus 30 under or favorite, it worries me every time. The last time we were a 20-point plus favorite was the Navy game this year, and you saw what happened there. I don't want to play down to these guys, but that's just what worries me more than anything about this is playing down to a team like Yukon. Nothing more could hurt us worse than losing a game at home. We haven't lost a game at home yet this year. That's pretty good. All right, that's going to do it for us. I'm Andrew Phegley. Go Knights.
Charge on.